Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to William Haddad.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming to this session today. Thank you to ClioCon for inviting me to come out and speak with you all. I'm really excited to be here and connect with all of you. This ClioCon so far, there's just great energy in the room. What an awesome keynote. Beautiful space. I walked in yesterday and I saw this space and I was like, wow, this is incredibly done. This is actually my first ClioCon. Raise your hand if it's your first ClioCon. Oh, nice. Look at all the hands. That's great. Woohoo, I'm not alone. Look, we come to sessions like this, we come to conferences like this to get more context. And it was great hearing Jack talk about context earlier and how important that is. But we come to get context. And that context helps us to be better leaders, better operators, better executors. And so my objective today, my goal today is to help arm you all with context that you can bring back to your business and that you could leverage to make better decisions. We're going to talk a lot about marketing today. We're going to talk a lot about data and the use of data today. It's right in line with what we just talked about in the keynote about how data is at the core of emerging technologies like AI. And so I'm really excited to get into it today, and thank you all for being here. Firstly, I want to introduce myself, and I want to introduce Scorpion. I'll start with Scorpion. For those of you that don't know, we've been specialized in legal marketing for law firms for the last 20 years. And we've got a range of technology solutions and digital marketing solutions to help law firms grow and to be more efficient in their growth strategies. My name's William. I'm the VP of Product and Strategy with Scorpion. I've been with Scorpion for almost a decade now, and I've had the privilege of working with many small businesses directly on their marketing and growth strategies. I've helped to consult local businesses on how they can best leverage technology and how they can implement it and benefit from it. And I'm here today because I'm one of our product leaders that's focused on building out our data strategy at Scorpion and how we can leverage data to be more effective marketers and advertisers. Now, before we get into some of the content, I want to level set a little bit and set the stage for the state of the industry, if you will. We talk to a lot of small business owners, and what I'm about to share with you is not necessarily specific just to law firms, but it's some major challenges, marketing challenges that local businesses and law firms are facing today in the industry. For one, marketing is very competitive. I'm sure you all are experiencing this today. There's new players coming into the game every day. We're seeing year-over-year cost increases to digital marketing campaigns and strategy. Recent benchmark reporting from Google shows that the legal industry is one of the most expensive and competitive industries to advertise in. And it's continually getting more expensive, more costly, and more competitive year over year over year. Marketing is complex. Right now, local marketing is more complex than it's ever been. You have the average small business is using 8 to 12 different tools just to manage lead generation. If you think about it, you've got your Google search, AdWords campaigns, you have analytics campaigns, you have reporting dashboards, you have intake tools, you have reputation tools, you have now AI tools and different ways to capture leads. It's a lot. And these tools are always changing, and it's really complex. Then add on to this, you have AI. AI is coming into this space. I'm sure you all have been privy to how it's changing search behavior, how it's changing how consumers are finding local businesses, how they're researching who to pick and how to pick them. And so you got to be in the know with that, and you got to be optimized and producing the right type of content for AI exposure, right? It's very complex right now. Thirdly, it's consuming. The digital marketing industry has grown at a 20% year over year. There's new players and investments coming into this space specifically to cater to the SMB market. You've got a range of different tools that emerge and that are sunset in the same year, and it's rapidly changing. And you all have worked so hard to get to where you are now, and marketing and keeping up with this is just yet another thing that is very time-consuming and difficult to manage and to deal with, especially with all the complexities that are in the market now that we're all faced with and challenged with. So, why, given all of those challenges, do some firms have a larger advantage? Why are some firms getting the lead gen? Some are growing at a very rapid rate. What is it? How do they get that advantage? And the answer is they have clarity. They have clarity about their most valuable clients. They have clarity about what's working and what isn't working. And they have clarity about where they should invest. When you have clarity, these are some of the main things I'm going to be talking to you about today, is that when you have clarity through data, you can have full funnel visibility that helps you to drive and make more intelligent, data-driven decisions, not based on feeling, but based on data. You have the ability to improve your intake process and get higher conversion rates. Improving and measuring the intake process is very, very important. Return on investment in business growth is part accountability in marketing. And at Scorpion, we are accountable to the results that we get for your business. But there's a second layer to that, and that's accountability in the intake process and in the operation, and in how we cater those leads and nurture leads and manage our pipeline for new business coming into our firms. Lastly, and what I think is most important, is smarter marketing, more intelligent, data-driven marketing that is intentional. And with how competitive the space is right now, you must be intentional, and intentional through data. Otherwise, your cost efficiency and your marketing efficiency is going to decrease, your return on investment is going to decline. And that's just because of how competitive and how much the market is changing. So these are the points we're going to talk about. Now, I want to take a minute to highlight our recent partnership with Clio. We kicked off a partnership earlier this year, and we are Clio's sole preferred marketing services partner. Now, Clio chose to work with Scorpion because they saw our ability to manage and have the platform and the tooling capabilities to manage data. And Clio and Scorpion, we're coming together to bring this level of clarity to the legal market and to digital advertising for law firms. And so I'm going to talk about our data integration today with Clio and how Scorpion leverages data to help our mutual customers grow and develop. And this is just the beginning of what this partnership looks like. And the sky's the limit to how we can come together to share insights and information and data and tooling to bring new products to the market that really ultimately help y'all succeed and be more efficient and give you a competitive advantage compared to any other firms out there. So before we can talk about all the benefits that you get from having data, we need to just quickly talk about first-party data. What is it? Okay, so first-party data is data that exists in different systems. This is data that is native to you. So there's data in your advertising system, and there's data in your case management system. In your advertising system, it's data like website traffic and impressions and cost per click and targeting, demographic information, your investment levels. All that data is available, and if you're utilizing a digital marketing agency today, they're leveraging this data to manage the campaigns and to drive better results from them. Now, Clio is very unique and is great because Clio has built a system to be able to store and manage all of the information about your clients. And there's a tremendous amount there's a gold mine in there of information that is rich in supporting your digital marketing strategies. Things like information about your retained clients, your case values, how many consultations have you had, the consultation rate, your pipeline stages. That's very important. And for those of you that are using Clio Grow, you have an advantage. Your most valuable case types and valuable areas, the dates and times of interactions. When did things happen? When did they open? When did they close? When were they scheduled? That's all first-party data. and that's available. So we want to leverage that information. So when I talk about the integration, I'm talking about why should you integrate these two sets of data together? What are all the benefits of doing that? And what are some of the strategies that you can take home to leverage? So when we integrate these together, what Scorpion is after here is helping to power our internal teams and our technology with information that can help improve the return on investment and lower customer acquisition costs. In our time of integrating clients already, we're already seeing improvements in the return on investment that we can gather through taking strategies like this with our integration. Now, there's a few key things that I want to talk about. For one, you get to know what's working. You get to power AI. AI needs data. AI needs data. Data, I'm sure some of you have heard this, data is the new oil. It's an asset, right? So you get to continually optimize based off of this. It's secure, automatic, and real time. I work with a lot of firms that, they're downloading reports and exporting them and working out of Excel sheets and then emailing those sheets. That's very time consuming, first of all. It's not real time. You've got to be downloading it and keeping it up to date all the time, and it's not secure. Doing this through integration is a much more automated and secure approach. Additionally, integrating these two sets of data together help you to expand and improve the intake process, and we're going to talk about that today. I want to quickly share a little bit about how this works. So inside of Clio, I already mentioned the type of data that's in there, right? To simplify it, though, you got your invoices, your bills, your matters, and your contacts. And inside of your advertising system, I'm using Scorpion in this example, we have lead data, you have your marketing campaigns, your clicks, and your keywords. Now, when you integrate these two systems together, you get a story that kind of looks like this. You can analyze the entire customer journey. Now, if you look closely at this and you read from the bottom up, this is actually a real example of a real client that was acquired through digital marketing efforts. And look at all the touch points that were included on this. Video awareness campaigns, search ads, local service ads, then a case was created, then another Google search ad, then another case, an organic website interaction, and then a final conversion value. So it's data like this. This is the foundational piece. We talk about marketing attribution. This is the marketing attribution. And this shows the entire client journey from beginning to end. Now, using that full funnel journey, you can make a lot of more intelligent decisions. I'm going to give you another example. Say that you're running a marketing strategy and you've got 3 different channels. Channels can be interchanged with locations. It could be interchanged with strategies. So this is an interchangeable concept. For this concept, we'll use channels. So you got 3 different ones. You're getting ready to invest $10,000 into your firm for next month or for next quarter. Where are you going to put the money? Based on the data that you have available, channel number 3. Because it's the lowest cost lead and you want to maximize the number of leads and opportunities that you get back to your business, right? But the second you can actually merge the two data sets together and you know the outcomes and the revenue associated to these different strategies, the story changes. Now it's no longer channel 3, but it's channel number 2, because that's where you're getting the highest return on your dollars. Now, you can take something like this at face value and you could say, all right, cool, I'm going to put my dollars into channel number 2. But when I look at this, I don't look at it in that way. I look at it as to why. Why is channel number 3 producing the results that it's producing? Because at face value, yeah, we're going to go put more money into channel 2, but sometimes you can't put more money into channel 2, even if you wanted to. So it comes with needing to optimize the information in between these different strategies. And the reality is there's a lot of factors that affect your return on investment. For example, it could be an advertising optimization that's needed to get a better outcome. You might need to try to reduce the lead cost. That's very, very possible. Your keyword to click to landing page experience, and that needs to be more optimized so that you're dialing in your conversion rates. That could be a factor. But it could also be, hey, leads that come in from this channel come through direct messages, and my team isn't set up for success to handle those messages. So they go unanswered, and I lose the opportunities. It could be that. It could be that you don't have an attorney in-house that can handle a certain type of law, and for whatever reason, this strategy or this channel is producing a high volume of those types of cases or those types of opportunities, and you're not equipped to really handle them. So you're inefficient, and you have a hard time closing them, and you can't get past the consult stage. So there's operational operational indicators like that affect your performance. And data is the key to being able to unlock and see those. Another big benefit here to having the data is understanding the intake process. There was a recent Secret Shopper analysis that Clio put out, and I don't know if y'all had seen this, but it blew my mind, which was they found that 52% of the firms didn't answer the calls. 52%. That might be some of you in the room. I would think for a minute right now, like, do I have a strategy for my intake? Am I equipping my team with the right tools for my intake process? Let me show you just a little bit of math quickly. Let's say you have a $20,000 budget and you invest $20,000 into marketing. You get $200 lead costs. Okay, so you've generated 100 leads for your business. Of those 100 leads, 25% of them went to consults. You've got 25 consults. And of those 25 consults, 40% of them you sign up. That's 10 cases. That's 10 cases at a $2,000 cost per case. If you don't answer the phone 52% of the time, that cost per case just went to $4,000. That's right out of your bottom line. Marketing ROI is not just driven by advertising optimization, it's driven by intake optimization. Perhaps it's even more impactful and influential. So we're going to talk for a minute about your full funnel case journey. Now, as I explain this, I'm going to show you how the integration works between Clio Grow, between Clio Manage, and between Scorpion. And this will also help, hopefully, paint a little bit of a picture and maybe have you thinking about your full funnel client experience from beginning to end. So firstly, it starts with a marketing strategy. This is the most important part. Like, you've got to have the most intentional strategy set up for success. That strategy produces lead generation, hopefully from different channels. Hopefully you're set up for that. From there, you're capturing leads. How are you capturing leads? Is it just website form fills? Is it just phone calls? Are you set up for direct messaging? Are you set up for AI chat? Are you set up for, there's AI call receptionists and call answering. Scorpion has a product for that. We're not going to talk about it today, but that's something that's coming up, right? So you've got a lot of different ways and methods to capture leads. You want to meet clients with where they are. Do you offer online scheduling? That's another way, right? So there's the lead capture period. Now, all that information in our integration environment with Clio, it actually feeds right into Clio Grow so that your team, all the data goes right into the lead inbox, and you have a consolidated, singular location that you're setting them up for success because they can work in one area, and all the client data is captured and stored and measured in one location. Then you're managing the workflow inside of Clio, or maybe even automating the workflow inside of Clio using AI. Your matters are created, you're going through your qualification step, the forms are being created, you're scheduling consults, maybe you're sending out the agreement letter, the estimated case value. And this is important, estimated case value in return, because for a lot of you, your cases could go on for a significant amount of time. And so we could see that a new case was acquired, but it doesn't actually reflect the full revenue outcome. So one of the things that we're doing as part of this integration with Clio is capturing the projected values that you say that cases are, and then using that data, we can provide a predictive analysis on how quality different leads are based on that information, and we can do it more quickly. It's just one of the many ways that we integrate with Clio's system to provide better marketing information and insight and strategy. So you move it on. Now you have assigned matter. The client's billed. You have realized return, not just what you've projected in your return. That information makes its way over to Clio Manage, and then eventually Scorpion, through our Clio Manage integration, gets a full aggregated look. Now, this is the full funnel, right? So one of the things that we're actually working on right now, I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek, and maybe this will help also churn some gears, that's something you can bring back to your team and think about in the context of your business, is how can we help our firms improve their lead quality and intake and conversion? Well, one of the ways is to expose the full journey. I'll just quickly outline what this really means. This means I got this many leads. Of those leads, this many were qualified. Of those qualified, this many went to a consultation or were scheduled, and of those, how many were hired? Who here has this information available within their firm today? Raise your hand. Only a few hands. This is critical information. What can't be measured can't be managed. You have to be able to measure this. Now, not only are we working on providing this, but we use AI as a part of our lead scoring product. And it allows us to take different factors and data points and qualities about the leads that we are generating and capturing, analyze them, score them, and provide a potential value to those. We also get to see some of the outcomes. So if you look very closely, actually, you'll see on the right-hand side the points of drop-off. Did your calls go to voicemail? Were they not answered? Were they not qualified because they were out of a service area or you don't provide that particular type of service? Were there pricing concerns? Did you decline the business? Right? There's all sorts of things. And so we arrive at this using two approaches. One of them is through the use of AI. The other one is through use of integration with your case management and intake system. Because we know which clients went to consult, which of those consults were signed or not, and how much they were for. So using all of that information, we can produce something like this, and this provides a lot of data that now you can pick a specific area. If you've got 40% in one area of drop-off, well, that tells you a lot, and that tells you where to go put your focus and your attention. So if you take away anything from this session, actually, one of the things, based on the hands that just came up, I would say go pay very close attention to your intake process. Like what's really happening behind there. And do you have data to support your decision-making and your analysis? Or are you operating off of feeling? So marketing strategy, that was the first part of that journey, right? Smarter marketing can get you smarter ROI. That's what we're seeing with our clients already today. And as I mentioned, now is a critical time to be taking an intentional approach to the strategy that you're creating. You have a lot of levers to pull with digital advertising, which is why it's so cool. There's a lot of ways you can tailor the strategy. But one of the most effective ways is to tailor the strategy based on capturing more of the types of clients that you want to capture. So think for a minute about your ideal client, your highest value clients. With them, there's a set of data and criteria that are the makeup of these types of clients. There's demographic information, like their income, like their house values. There's revenue information, how proximity to how close they are to you and where they're located, their age, the types of case volume that come from these clients. This is all first-party data. And when you leverage this information to build strategy, the results are better. For example, we analyzed data, Clio integrated client, family law attorney, that we measured their average case values and average case revenue compared to demographic information that was their property values. What we found was that there was a 50% increase in average case values with a 50% increase in property values. Now, you might be hearing this and saying, well, yeah, of course. They have more expensive homes and they can spend more money. Okay, sure. This is data that we might intuitively know, but when it's actually rooted in data, it's more informative. And the reason why this is so important is because if you're building a strategy and you have data like this one small example, one small comparison, you could now say, all right, I only have $20,000 worth to spend. I can't just go target everywhere on every channel all the time because you literally can't because it's too expensive. So I have to be more intentional and focused in my strategy. So in this scenario, where are you going to spend the money? Well, we want to go after based on where our client data is telling us, not just demographic information, this is the combination of the two. This is revenue data and demographic data combined. And it's specific and it's unique to your business. Demographic data, everyone could get access to. But how do you layer on other qualities about your business, your consultation rates in these areas, your case values in these areas, the types of cases you're generating from these different areas, and how are the demographic information impacting the performance and the results and the values? So this is one of the many ways to drive intentional marketing strategy through location-based targeting. Another way is to know your most valuable cases. Okay, and little call out here is I work with a lot of attorneys and I see their segmentation of case types and practice areas inside of CLIA. It's not set up for success. In a lot of cases, the data is missing. And so I'll actually take this opportunity to say another thing that you can maybe walk out of away from this session is think about your data cleanliness and integrity. Remember what was shared earlier in Jack's session is that data is king. Data is what AI needs to be able to develop. And if you think 5 years out, 10 years out, and the type of tooling and opportunities that are going to be available with AI and with automation, it's going to rely on the data that's inside of your system. And if you have fragmented information, because your team isn't thinking about the type of information that they're storing on customer records and values and the type of information that they're putting on cases, then you're at a disadvantage. And so one of the ways we find when we integrate with clients and we help to use this data from advertising strategies, it becomes apparent immediately when we don't have the type of data that we need. And then we work with our clients and we inform them and consult with them. And typically, it's a process for them to go clean it up. But it's something to consider, not just for digital marketing's sake, but for your own data sovereignty. Now, on this point, though, knowing your most valuable cases. When you know your most valuable cases, you can leverage that information for a lot of things. Keyword strategy, AI search optimization strategy, content strategy, social strategy. And again, we might all have a feeling, well, yeah, I want these types of cases. And your feeling might be right, your intuition, your gut might be right. But then if you don't have the data, you can't ask the question why. Why is it working? Why is it the most valuable? And you need additional data to really figure that out so you can repeat it and create repeatable systems that drive better efficiency and execution within your business, that you can create a growth strategy around, that you can scale. Without the proper data, you can't scale your growth strategy. And so this information is critical. And it's how Scorpion uses it to define and develop marketing strategy and campaign deployment opportunities. Lastly is the continuous optimization. AI is only as smart as the data that you feed it. And if you think about the big advertising platforms, Google and Meta, for example, they're under a lot of scrutiny right now for consumer privacy. And so how they are leveraging information, the types of data and qualities that they have been using historically to make targeting decisions on what's a good quality lead and what isn't, some of those are starting to be deprecated. And so new approaches are needing to be developed for these systems to understand the types of clients that you want to capture and to help cater their advertising systems and their automation and their AI to work for you. They want you to continue to spend money with them. They want you to advertise with them. And to do that, that means they need to drive results. But you got to help give them data. They have more information about your clients, which are their users, than you have about your own clients. And so one of the ways that Scorpion supports with this is we, like I mentioned earlier, we use AI to score the different lead qualities and outcomes, and we share information with advertisers around, hey, this was good and this wasn't. Hey, you brought us a lead. That lead came from this specific keyword or this search traffic. Send us more traffic like this one. We want more like this. Right? And so by integrating in two systems together, it's not just making that association, or sorry, that determination based on the lead quality, it's making it on the lead outcomes. What was the outcome of that lead? Did it go to consult? Was it a good quality lead or not? Did it result in revenue? How much revenue, right? That affects the scoring of how valuable it was, and that information could be used to enable large advertising models to work in your favor. So it's an important consideration, and the best of the best are doing this. So clarity creates confidence, strategy, it creates growth, it creates intentionality. I would really think about it and consider your data strategy. Do you have a data strategy? Do you have an intake strategy? Are you set up for success for the future with AI? And I would consider that. There's a lot of elements to digital marketing, and so this is one of the ways that Clio and Scorpion came together and said, hey, this is an area of opportunity and growth, given all of the challenges that our mutual customers are facing today. And it's something that I'm genuinely, this is an area of passion for me personally, and it's an area that we really do want to help our mutual customers and help you all succeed in this space. You all have worked so hard to get to this point, and this is really about supporting you in your growth journey. So that's about it for me. I appreciate you all coming to this session today. Thank you. I'd love to personally meet you. We've got a lot of Scorpion team members here that are really excited to connect with you all as well. Please come by our booth. It's 271. We're going to be near the puppies very soon. Just saying. It's going to be really cute over there, so I would head over there. There's a QR code here. If you scan it, you'll get some more information about Scorpion and about the partnership and about our products and services that we enable you to leverage. Okay, so thank you all again. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please come by the booth. I'll be there. Would love to meet you all personally. Have a great rest of your time at ClioCon.